We are going to begin the public hearing for May 2nd, 2023. Could we please have roll call?
Commissioner Tedesco,
Here.
Commissioner Pinter,
Here.
Commissioner Baca,
Here.
Commissioner Odoricio,
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Everyone please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second?
Motion and a second. That passes. Okay, today we begin we're going to go into proclamations, awards and proclamations. Today we begin by recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month. May is recognized as a time dedicated to raising awareness about the importance of mental health and working to end the stigma and discrimination surrounding mental illness. The purpose of this month is to encourage people to prioritize mental health, seek support when needed, and educate themselves and others about the various mental health conditions that affect millions of people worldwide. At this time, we will read the proclamation. And I'm asking Commissioner Pinter.
All right, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2023. Whereas Mental Health Awareness Month has been observed in May in the United States since 1949 and was first commemorated by the Mental Health America organization, the month is observed with media, local events, and film screenings, and whereas in the United States alone, approximately 46% of us will meet the criteria for a diagnosable mental health condition at some point in our lifetime. That is nearly 1 in 5 Americans experiencing this in any given year. And whereas 1 in 5 children, either currently or at some point during their life, have had a seriously debilitating mental illness. And whereas every 11 minutes, a life is taken by suicide. 90% of those lives have suffered with a mental disorder. And whereas in those 11 minutes, a simple conversation could change that statistic miraculously. Even though our awareness has heightened since the pandemic, there are still people around the world who are unable to access help due to technological barriers or lack of support and acknowledgement. And whereas the focus this year is on how surroundings impact mental health and are asking for individuals to look around and look within. Topics being addressed include safe and stable housing, healthy home environments, neighborhoods and towns, outdoors and nature. The goal is to help individuals understand how these topics impact mental health, provide tips for the actions people can take to change their surroundings in favor of their well-being, and recommended suggestions for coping skills. And whereas Adams County's A-Proud affinity groups, led by employees, provide a shared space for support, a greater sense of connection and community, and promote positive mental health within the foundations of Adams County. And whereas May is a dedicated month of asking more questions, being present, and educating ourselves and others on the importance of mental health. We must continue those conversations and extend our empathy with those in need. We must advise those within those surrounding our community to do the same, long after the month of May has ended. And whereas, by shedding light on mental health, we break negative stigma, we educate the public, we become confident in our awareness, and we become stronger versions of ourselves. In doing so, we help those in and around Adams County community who are still struggling. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of County Commissioners, the County of Adams, the State of Colorado proclaims May 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Month, and it is signed by all of us. Thank you so much for the opportunity to read this proclamation. I know there are a lot of services out there. One of the newer ones is the I Matter program, which provides 6 free counseling sessions to youth in Colorado. They are virtual, and then they can lead to an in-person relationship with a licensed therapist. So if you particularly know any children struggling, I Matter has resources for adults, parents, and children. It's just I Matter Colorado.
Matter Colorado, thank you very much. Any other comments? Commissioner Baca.
Thank you, Chair. And excuse me, on this proclamation of Mental Health Week, I want to recognize the Brighton Youth Commission. They recognize this week as their Speak Walk Week. So SPEAK stands for Suicide Prevention, Education, Awareness, and Knowledge. This block has been in place in this educational week this is the 12th year. They have activities every single day this week to support their fellow students, to bring awareness to the community, and then they end it with a walk which would be this coming Saturday, and festivities that happen at Carmichael Park. So if you're interested in joining their walk, it's this coming Saturday, and you can find more information at the Brighton Youth Commission Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baca. Do you have anything to say? All right. So thank you all very much. May is also recognized as the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, a time to celebrate and recognize the contributions and achievements of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the United States. This month is a time to reflect on the rich cultural heritage and diversity of the AAPI community and to honor the struggles and sacrifices of those who have paved the future for future generations. At this time, we will read this next proclamation. Commissioner Baca.
Thank you, Chair. May 2023 is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month seeks to honor and recognize the contributions of residents from Asia, India, and the Pacific Islands. And whereas Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have a rich heritage thousands of years old. And whereas the month of May was chosen to commemorate the first Japanese immigration to the United States in May 1843, and to mark the anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad on May 10, 1869, completed predominantly by Chinese immigrant workers. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islanders make up approximately 4% of the Adams County population and one of the fastest growing communities in Adams County. Whereas Judge Cindy Dang is recognized as the first female Vietnamese judge to serve in the 17th Judicial District in Adams County. And whereas Commissioner Lynn Baca is recognized as the first Latina Asian Pacific Islander to serve as an Adams County Commissioner. Excuse me. Whereas we acknowledge Asian American and Pacific Islanders who have lived and worked in Adams County for many years, contributing to Adams County's economy, culture, education, politics, arts, literature, science, and technological developments, despite institutional, social, and systematic injustices designed to prevent and limit these achievements and contributions. And whereas the theme for this year is, quote, advancing leaders through opportunity, end quote. And whereas through APROUD, AAPI, Affinity Group, employees connect and celebrate the diverse cultures and professional backgrounds within our communities. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month allows us to appreciate and celebrate the importance of inclusion and building a brighter future for all residents by recognizing the contributions and accomplishments of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners, the County of Adams, State of Colorado, proclaims May 2023 as Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and encourages all residents to participate in activities in promotion of Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage, signed by all 5 of the commissioners. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Baca. Any other comments? No. I will say that it's an honor to work with you, Lynn Baca. Thank you very much. And we will ask now for Dennis Swain to please come to the podium. Dennis Swain is our Adams County Diversity and Inclusion Administrator, and he does an outstanding job. Mr. Swain.
Thank you. I guess the first thing I'd want to say about the proclamations are really nice, but what it offers is an opportunity for folks to reflect. And so I've been reflecting for the last week, knowing that I was going to speak today. And I normally would write you a really pretty speech, But I felt like that was not what I wanted to do today. I want to tell you a story about my mother. My mother came to this country. She initially went with my father to a military base in Alaska and didn't find it so welcoming because she was not from this country and she spoke minimal English. And so she didn't have a lot of friends. And so she didn't feel comfortable in that space. Later in her life, she got a job working for Hilton as a housekeeper and found that to be a struggle because my mom didn't read or write English, even though she began to speak English. And so she felt like there were many times that she was passed over for promotions or opportunities, which goes along with the theme of building leaders this month. Later in her life, my father and mother separated, and my mother found it to be a struggle not only to be a woman, but to be a woman who was Asian where she was, because there was a lot of places she didn't feel comfortable as she was looking for new work. I reflected on my mother a lot this month because I work in a place that allows me to do that. That allows me to be who I am, build other leaders, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here and I stay here. And I feel like that's really important for our leadership, not just you, but the leadership that's in this room to remember. Because though it's a proclamation, and I appreciate us reading the proclamation, what matters is the connection and reflection for us. And so I could spend a lot of time telling you about how Asian Americans have helped build this country either willingly or not, sometimes by force, right? But what I would ask is that we always remember that we have many people that help build Adams County and make it a wonderful place. And that I would ask you to recognize that they're not just proclamations, that they are opportunities of reflection which support what we believe in. And what we believe here is that we should reflect and accordingly change our behaviors to what's appropriate. And so I appreciate that, and thank you for your opportunity to talk today.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you very much. Any comments? Commissioner Pinter.
Yeah, thank you so much. What a thoughtful morning. Sometimes our proclamations are really light and celebrating milestones, but these are both really thoughtful and really deep. And thank you, Commissioner Baca, for sharing just so many things with us, and your courage and your professionalism every single day. I'm honored to serve with you. And Dennis, thank you so much for your comments and your work diligently to build a team that will make our staff a better place, which will make our environment a better place, which will extend out to our community. And your work is so important to the health of our organization and also the health of our broader Adams County community. I just want to say I'm just really grateful to be here and be part of a commission that's taking time to pause and reflect on serious matters worthy of consideration.
Thank you. All right, thank you all. Thank you very much, Dennis. And we will be reflecting. At this time, we move to public comment. Is there anyone signed up, Erica, for public comment?
We do have one person signed up today, Robin Hannon.
Okay, Ms. Hannon, if you would please come to the podium, state your full name for the record and your address.
Hi, my name is Robin Hannon, and I live at 1380 Mariposa Drive, Denver, unincorporated Adams, 80221.
Got it. You have 3 minutes.
Yes. I'm glad to hear you speak about mental health today, because I'd really like to see that be included in the new health department. Thank you for getting that part together. I'm actually here today to speak about the need for better employee transitions within Adams County. Many times when employee changes are made, projects are not transferred to those new people. I'm going to give 2 examples. Our neighborhood liaison, Barb Baca, is no longer our neighborhood liaison. She walked the neighborhood with me, met with neighbors, handed out bags and lists of where they could find help for whatever they needed. She made great inroads on our neighborhood groups. She was always there to help run the Zoom link, and she was there for the big ice cream and fire trucks extravaganza with all the other Adams County departments that showed up to meet people and greet people, talk to them about everything that's going on within Adams. But she's gone, and no one will tell me why. So all of the things that we did have planned, they're on pause until I can remember all of those things. And we're starting over. There's a support transition. And then second example is going to be in Public Works, which also does a great job. But we have a lack of ADA ramps at the Anythink Library on Hilltop in El Paso. So for the ADA ramps to go in, there has to be a sidewalk on the other side to connect that ramp to. There is not one on the opposite end of Anythink Library. So Brian Staley was kind enough to come out and take a look at that area, and he brought with him Monica Lobato Ramirez. She got us a grant to get that sidewalk poured. So when the sidewalk program went in last summer, I excitedly called Monica and found out she's no longer there. No one knows anything about the grant, and so Adams County came out and poured the sidewalks, skipped that area, and went on and poured further. My elderly neighbors and my neighbors with disabilities have a very rough time getting across the street. There's no crosswalk and there are no ramps there. I'd like better transitions so that these projects can continue and not put us back further. Also, we need more leaders in the community. And to that end, anyone that can hear us speak today, I'd like for them to join the Sherwood Neighborhood Organization on Facebook or Nextdoor, and we can all get together and help make unincorporated Adams specifically a better place.
Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you.
Hannah. No one else has signed up, but is there anyone else that would like to speak today that came in? No? Okay. We are moving on. Elected official communications. Yes?
I was going to do the buttons.
I think I hit the.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I'd like to say a few things, and first off, I just want to say that, Dennis, specifically you, you've done so much since you've come here. I mean, just outstanding work, especially in changing the atmosphere and the culture here in Adams County. Your group, the DEI group, and everything that you have done here to help employees understand themselves, but not only that, others, and really kind of put the shoe on that others wear and realize what that means. I can't say enough about what you do and how you do that, and I appreciate your story today, especially about your mother. I'm not going to give my story about my mother because you and I both know our stories are very much alike. And I just want to say you and your group, outstanding. Love all the work that you're doing. Love the transitions that we're seeing. Keep up the good work. On the second note, I do want to say that Saturday is also the foster care 5Ks, which is very special to me. And all the monies go to help support foster kids and the foster families that are here in Adams County and outside of Adams County that foster for Adams County. And so if you're free in the morning, really early, come out to the Riverdale Regional Park and you can run or walk or whatever you want to do and support our foster families and our foster kids. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, moving right along. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved. It's waiting.
Well, I'll second that, and the computer may or may not catch up with us.
Commissioner Baca,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinter,
Yes.
Commissioner Tedesco,
Yes.
Commissioner Odoricio.
Yes. Okay, moving on, new business, county manager.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have one item today for you. It is a resolution approving Amendment 2 to the agreement between Adams County and Southwestern Painting LLC in the amount of $550,000 for on-call painting services, RFP 2023.619. Eric Bryant will present this.
Good morning, Commissioners. Facilities and Fleet Management Department requires painting services in county buildings to maintain the quality appearance. In May of 2021, the county entered into an agreement with Southwestern Painting. We provide on-call painting services in all county buildings. The Facilities and Fleet Management Team is pleased with the on-call painting services provided by Southwestern Painting and recommends the amendment to extend the agreement for one additional year in the not-to-exceed amount of $550,000. Be approved. Questions?
Any questions? Commissioner Baca?
Thank you, Chair. What is the total length with all the agreements or amendments if we were to extend?
This
it
is
5
our-
years?
This is our last year
Okay.
with Southwestern. I believe it was a 2-year with a 1-year reading.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion?
Move to approve as presented.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, we'll vote. Passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much. Anything from the county attorney?
I do. Commissioners, I apologize. We have 2 litigation matters that we do need to discuss today due to timing. And it would be an executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 246402(4)B and E for the purpose of receiving legal advice and instructing negotiators regarding the Devora Cervantes case and the Briones case.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, and still waiting. Do we have a second?
I'll go ahead and second, and then maybe the computer will catch up.
Commissioner Baca, Commissioner Pinter,
Yes.
Commissioner Tedesco,
Yes.
Commissioner Odericio.
Yes, thank you. Okay, we have a land use hearing. We'll give you guys 5 minutes. All right, we'll reconvene in 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to reconvene the hearing. We're now entering the land use portion of the hearing. All yours.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jen Rutter, Planning and Development Manager. So this morning, you were going to hear the Marquardt Tract Lot 7A right-of-way vacation. We have been working with Public Works. You advance me. Thank you. We've been working with Public Works to correct an error that was made in this process. There was actually an error in the request when it was noticed for this public hearing, so we're going to request a continuance of this hearing. We also have Public Works here as well to support us, and staff is recommending continuance of VAC 2023-3 to the June 13th, 2023 Board of County Commissioners hearing at 9:30 a.m.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to continue. Is this the right screen? VSP 2023-3, the Marquette Track right-of-way vacation continuance to a date certain of June 13th, 2023 at the Board of County Commissioners hearing at 9:30 a.m.
Okay, just a point. Is it VSP or VAC?
It's VAC.
Okay.
Sorry. It does say something different, yes. My apologies.
I'm going to go with the second, and we'll do a voice vote, I guess.
Commissioner Baca,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinter,
Yes.
Commissioner Tedesco,
Yes.
Commissioner Odericio.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Layla Bajlan. I'm a senior long-range planner with the Community and Economic Development Department. In the case before you is PRC 2022-18. This is the Knightenbaugh Minor Subdivision Final Plat, and the address of the subject request is 14901 Colorado Boulevard. So within this case, there are two requests. The first request is for a minor subdivision final plat to create 3 lots on roughly 10 acres. Additionally, there is a request for a waiver from the subdivision design standards to allow for the lots to take access from a private drive. So this shows the location of the subject parcel. It's located west of Colorado Boulevard. This is near the city of Thornton and Wadley Farms. The site is currently vacant, as you can see in this image. And this provides a closer aerial image of the subject parcel. It is currently developed with a single-family house, and then a majority of the parcel is vacant with some oil and gas equipment located on the northwest corner. The current zoning on the subject property is Agricultural 1. The Agricultural 1 zone district is designated for single-family residential and then limited agricultural uses. And all surrounding properties west of Colorado Boulevard are also zoned as Agricultural 1. And then properties to the east of Colorado Boulevard are either within the city of Thornton or are larger agricultural lots that are zoned as Agricultural 3. And the future land use designation on the subject property is estate residential. The estate residential future land use designation would support the larger agricultural and residential lots, which would be our residential estate and Agricultural 1 zone districts. And all properties to the west of Colorado Boulevard share this designation as well. So in considering a minor subdivision final plat, the criteria of approval include that the request conforms with the subdivision design standards, that the applicant has provided documentation that demonstrates adequate water supply and adequate sewer service for the proposed subdivision, that any soil or topographical conditions have been identified, that there's adequate drainage infrastructure and public infrastructure in place, including curb, gutter, and sidewalk, that the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and any applicable sub-area plans, that the request is consistent with the development standards, and finally, that the request is harmonious and compatible with the surrounding area. And then when looking at the waiver from the subdivision design standards, the criteria of approval include that there's an extraordinary hardship or practical difficulties that result from strict compliance with these standards and regulations, that the purpose of these standards and regulations are served to a greater extent by the alternative proposal, and that the request does not have the effect of nullifying the purpose of these standards and regulations. So this image shows the proposed final plat that's submitted by the applicant. Again, the application is a minor subdivision final plat to create 3 lots from the existing 10-acre parcel. The applicant is requesting this to allow for him and his 2 brothers to live adjacent to each other. Lot 1 is being proposed at 2.65 acres and has roughly 557 feet of lot width. Lot 2 is being proposed at 2.5 acres and has 236 feet of lot width. And then Lot 3 is proposed at 3.05 acres and has 224 feet of lot width. Additionally, on this plat, you can see that the setbacks from the oil and gas equipment, this is a plugged-in abandoned oil and gas well, and we have a required 50 by 100 setback that has been shown on the plat. Additionally, there are 3 tracks with this plat. Tract A is for the private drive that would allow for access for all 3 lots. Tract B is along the south and eastern sides of Lot 1, and this is a landscape tract that would prevent Lot 1 from being a double fronting lot along the private drive and Colorado Boulevard. And then Tract C is located in the southwest corner of the proposed plat, and this is to allow for drainage and then also access to the oil and gas equipment that's located on Lot 3. So in looking at the agricultural 1 zone district, the dimensional standards include a minimum lot size of 2.5 acres and then a minimum lot width of 150 feet if the lot is proposed to be serviced by individual well and septic system. All 3 lots are meeting the dimensional standards for the agricultural 1 zone district. Additionally, the minimum required setbacks for a principal structure include a front of 30 feet, a rear of 20 feet, a side of 10 feet, or 1 foot per 2 feet of height, whichever is greater. And then there's a maximum height restriction of 35 feet for a dwelling in the A1 zone district. Here are a couple images of the subject site. This is looking from Colorado Boulevard to the west. This is looking at the existing single-family home on the property. The home and the accessory structures are proposed to remain and be a part of the new proposed Lot 1. This is looking to the southwest from Colorado Boulevard. This is looking at a portion of the proposed Lot 1 and then Lot 2 in the background. As you can see, a majority of this existing parcel is vacant. And then this is looking to the south along Colorado Boulevard. As you can see, the surrounding properties are consistent with the A1 zone district, so those larger lots that are primarily residential with limited agricultural uses. So during the referral period, staff notified all property owners and occupants within 1,000 feet of the subject site. We sent out a total of 556 notifications, and we did receive 1 public comment on this case. The public comment was in support, noting that the proposed development was compatible with the surrounding developments, especially those to the west of Colorado Boulevard. We also notified referral agencies throughout this process as well, and the Division of Water Resources had initial concern on the water supply for the 3 existing lots. The applicant did provide a water supply plan to the Division of Water Resources, and they have confirmed that the subject parcel has the water rights for 3 individual wells. So there is the 300-year water supply requirement that can be provided to the existing or to the proposed lots. Additionally, Tri-County Health Department had some initial comments and concerns with the oil and gas equipment on the site. All setbacks are in place according to our regulations, and they have confirmed that all lots can be serviced with individual septic system as well. So this case was heard at the Planning Commission on April 13th, and the Planning Commission recommended approval 5-0 with 11 findings of fact and 1 condition precedent, 3 conditions, and then 3 notes to the applicants. There were no members of the public there to provide comment in support or opposition to this request. And the Planning Commission had some questions on the private drive and the naming because it does go east-west and then it does go north and south as well. And it doesn't change names throughout that. And then they also had some questions on the condition that does not allow for a gate. So this would prevent the applicant from putting a gate up unless it's approved by the Director of Community and Economic Development. Private drives are public access, but they are privately maintained and owned. So in order to put a gate up, the applicant would have to, or the HOA that is being established would have to get permission from the director and also the fire department to ensure that they have access for ambulance, fire trucks, and police as well. So staff today recommends approval of the subject request with 11 findings of fact, 1 condition precedent, 3 conditions, and 3 notes to the applicant. And we do have all of the findings of fact, condition precedent, conditions, and notes on additional slides. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? Staff, seeing none? Okay, could the applicant please come forward? You would please state your full name and your address for the record.
I'm Andrew Nightenbach, 10677 Durango Place, Longmont, Colorado, 80602.
Okay, please proceed.
I'd like to start by thanking Layla for guiding us through the process. She hit on everything technical, I think. My brothers and I pooled our money together to buy 10 acres in the hope that we could split it into 3 parcels. My younger brother lives in the existing house there with his family. Me, my wife, and 2 kids are hoping to build a house starting tomorrow if we get it approved. And my other brother is following shortly, hopefully. So all the oil and gas has been abandoned. We worked with the COGCC. That's the first thing we got started on when we bought that. So as of this week, they're reseeding it and revegetating it, and then it's kind of a clean lot to move forward.
Sounds good. Any questions? Commissioner Pinter?
Just because I care about your well-being, in working with the COGCC, you also worked on identifying and remediating any potential flow lines or anything y'all might hit during the construction phase to make sure that you're building safely, right?
Everything's been pulled out.
Okay.
There's that plugged and abandoned well that's down further than we'll ever go. They pulled out a couple $100,000 of dirt and brought in clean fill around the site. So, yeah, we've done a lot. They've spent a lot of money cleaning it up.
Awesome. I want you to be safe in your construction
I do too.
process.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Thank
Thank you. And yeah, that's a lot of love to build close to your family.
I know it.
Yeah.
All of our wives aren't
Any
quite as
others?
loving.
Yeah.
Get the house in the middle of the plot so we have a little room. So.
Commissioner Tedesco?
I congratulate you on what you're doing. I think that's great, and especially that you're giving yourself a little bit of acreage in between each other.
Thank you.
I think
As much
that's
as
also,
possible.
I think that's also, a redeeming factor of moving that many people of family together, so.
Yeah. And my parents live just to the west in that neighborhood, so. Grandma
So-
and grandpa will be close, yeah.
And just so you know, I'm fully supportive of what you're doing. I'm not going to talk about being against that. But what I do want to ask is staff, if there is a possibility, because we run into these issues all the time, whether they're abandoned, whether they're active, of dividing lots and putting more homes and more living space in and around oil and gas facilities. As in the Denver airport, there is a waiver form that you have to sign when you move into a non-protected area around the airport. Is there a form similar for those wanting to do as this gentleman is and divide the lot and move next to oil and gas? I'm not telling anyone whether they can or can't or shouldn't. That's a decision you have to make for you and your family. And as an owner of that property, you should make it with your eyes open, but also be acknowledging that that is there. And for our standards, we should have that as a standard document, just saying, I understand, right? Do we have that?
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, back in 2016, I think is when we established our plugged-in abandoned well standards, which previously people were allowed to actually build on top of plugged-in abandoned wells, which
Right.
is not a good thing. So this is where we established the 50 by 100 foot setback, or it's established on the plat. So whenever someone goes to build their house, they'll understand that it's actually there. It's depicted on the plat. There is an easement or an access that's required from a public right-of-way to that plugged-in abandoned well, so that if there's any need for the operator or the COGCC to go back and replug that well, they would have the ability to do so. So there'd be enough room for a workover rig to go back in there. There is a waiver, but not for plugged-in abandoned wells. It's actually for active wells. So we do have a different setback, a 250-foot setback for active wells, and then within 300 feet, if there's a residence, then yes, then the home builder would have to acknowledge that they are living within 300 feet of that active well.
Yeah, I think that's something we need to work on. You know, there's always those loopholes that we're not including, right? And I just want to say good luck with your project. I admire you for doing it, but be careful.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have instances where people have said everything has been documented and everything has been removed, and then it hasn't. And they run into problems later on down the road. So alls I'm saying is I applaud you for what you're doing. I respect you for, you know, taking care of family, but be careful.
Thank you.
Okay? And really, really watch out for what you're doing in there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Anyone else? Commissioner Pinter? I was going to say I'm going to recommend denial because nobody should live around family.
He lives next to his
I'm
family.
joking. I live in a similar situation that you do, and I really do wish you the best of luck, though.
Thank you. I hope it works out for you as well.
Let's talk.
Thanks.
I'm just joking. Ed, do we have at this time, do you have a comment, or can I go to the public? Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on this matter?
Didn't see any physical
I don't
bodies that
see
aren't
anybody,
staff.
but I have to ask. Coming back to the board for a motion.
I'm happy to move to approve the subject request PRC 2022-18 with 11 findings of fact, 1 condition precedent, 3 conditions, and 3 notes to the applicant.
We have a second.
Second?
All righty. That's it. Congratulations. Unanimous
Congratulations.
approval. I voted for it. Misery loves company. Let's go have coffee. I'm joking to my in-laws. All right. Is there anything else? I think we're good. All right. We are adjourned.